Alright, snap them once, snap them twice, 3 times. Good morning. So, really for today, what we've been thinking about here is the idea of how does allied behavior allow this integration to happen. The keeping track of allies activity, our job there is really to just chart the theme of allied behavior as we read Warriors Don't Cry. When we read Night, we looked at the dangers of indifference. The idea that when someone is not involved, it is almost even worse than hate. We're looking at allied behavior in this book because I feel it's really an important piece to show how Melba and the other 8 students integrated into Little Rock High School. Now, if you remember, Ryan Halligan's father came in to share his story about how his son took his own life because of cyberbullying. At the end of that speech, he said to us, don't be a bystander. He said, be an upstander. The idea that stand up when you see somebody who's being treated unfairly. We see in this book how just that behavior can lead to the civil rights movement, can sort of be a starter for the entire movement of the civil rights. High school kids. So really what I want to do today is I want you to do this activity called Discovering Characters. You each have a character bio, and you each have different characters. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to read our bio. Read through this character bio. Jot down just key facts that stand out to you about your character. Why don't you do that right now? Take about, I'd say, a minute or so. You can mark up this note card if you want to, or I can give you a post-it note if you want to write it on a post-it note. But take about 1 minute right now. Read through your bio. Jot down any key facts, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do with them. Does anyone have a clarifying question or a question about any of the directions so far at this point? No. All right, so what we're going to do today with these bios is attend a dance. In a minute, you're going to have a chance to mingle. You're going to walk around the room and talk to each other. I just want to point out, you got 3 stations over here. We got, very important, the lemonade station. We've got tortilla chip station. And over here we got the munchkin station. I spread them out because I want you to spread out as you mingle. I don't want you to just stay in one spot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play 2 songs. And I'm just going to sort of gauge how long we want to spend the activity based on the song. So when you hear the volume go down on the first song, you're going to know we're about halfway through. At that point, I definitely want you to move and meet somebody else that you haven't met yet. If you look on your graph, I want you to talk to 4 people at least today. What I want you to do on the left-hand side is list the name of the person that you met. That's the character name, not the student name. And then on the right-hand side, write down any details that you learned about that person. So if you want to jot down some questions that you might want to ask people when you get to meet them, you might want to do that at the bottom of this paper. there's more information on the back that I'm going to wait until we come back into this circle here to talk about. Any questions? Yes?
We are going to be moving the chairs, right?
You're going to be moving the chairs?
Yeah, like once we start.
See, I put it this way so that it would give you room to walk around the outside. You can do whatever you need to do to make yourself some room, but we are going to come back into the circle after we mingle.
Okay.
So, raise your hand if you have Melba's card. Okay, so we have one Melba. Raise your hand. What I'm trying to do right now is I want you to see who else has your card. Raise your hand if you have Virgil's card. All right, Laura and Eric. Raise your hand if you have Grandma India's card. All time. Ryan, do me a favor. Change that Indy to India.
Yeah.
Just put an A at the end of her name. Raise your hand if you have Link's card. Okay, Abby and Helen. How about me, Jean Brown? Excellent. Conrad?
Yep.
Okay. Danny? Beautiful. See who else has it. Let's see. Lois? Cool. See who else has it. And Elizabeth Eckford. Harper, check out who else has it. Did I miss anybody? All right, before we mingle, I'm going to give you a chance. I want you to meet with the person that shares that role with you. And I want you guys to sort of brainstorm, rehearse what you're going to do, what types of questions you're going to ask, get into character a little bit, use the viewpoint of your character, ask some questions. Yeah.
Are we going to be filling that out as a character we meet?
No, and actually that's why I'm having you do that right now, because once you guys have that conversation, when you go into when we mingle, I don't want you to go talk to the same person. Do you see?
Yeah.
So let's take about a minute right now. Meet up with your character and rehearse. Game plan.
Yeah. Game plan. What do we know about Grandma India?
She's very, very protective of Melba.
Yeah, she's highly religious. Okay, so it says that she carries she has a rifle on her lap and her rocking chair. So
I said
we want to talk about that.
Maybe what are we telling people about I want to be in our self states we keep
as it is
other people if
it is difficult.
part of everyone asks Melba. Alex,
We're not going yet.
I really like Melba and I want to help her.
All right, so we got some key ideas. You guys are good.
We could also ask them what's your view
Right, what?
on interning.
If you have any, did you come up with any?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you jot them? You can either jot them here or here. That's up to you.
Okay.
Whichever's going to be easiest.
Have you met with Conrad?
Yeah.
Cool.
And
That covers everything. I think there's not really anything.
I'm going to be buzzing once.
yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, there's a lot about it. Okay, we're good when you are.
All right, snap them once. Step them twice. 3 times. All right. Did everyone get a chance to talk? You feel pretty good? All right. I'm going to put on some tunes. And what I want you to do is to mingle, get some hors d'oeuvres, get some snacks. Make sure you meet 4 people and list what you know about them.
Use it. Excellent. Grab one. Lewis.
And your name, right? Teach English at Little Rock?
At a Little Rock school. I separated with my husband Will.
You're a surfer.
Supporting my daughter in her integration. What's your name?
You separated from your husband? I'm sorry.
What's your daughter? Mel, that's my daughter.
Yeah. I am meeting
But it's I think the kids are making it work. They'll make it work for themselves. So I'm not taking any action.
Do you think that's a good idea, Virgil?
Well, the kids will sort it out for themselves. They know what they're doing. They're just kids.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, good deal.
Don't forget about snacks. Get yourself some treats. That's a good one to write right there. Difficult to live in the shade. No, his sister does? Alright, so now switch it so that Dakota, I want you guys to switch now so that you get what you learned from James, alright? Yeah, but I want Dakota to write it down. Alright? Yeah, go for it again because he needs this one more time. Thanks, bud.
And actually, privately, I think I went on a trauma of like being judged and. Did you have anything else? I was.
Alright, let's pause for one moment. Have you been, how many of you, give me a thumb up, how many of you have met at least one other person so far?
Yeah, I've met like 4.
Alright?
Raise your hand.
Either thumb up or your hand up if you've met 2. Excellent. Thumb up, hand up if you've met 3. Alright, so there are less of you, so that's what we're going to do. Let's make sure we get to our third person. We want to meet at least 4. So you've got about another 2-minute song here, so we get 2 more minutes. We want to meet 4 people. Anyone have a question? Okay. So let's switch and let's meet our third and fourth person.
So I'm the superintendent for our schools first.
Okay, so you're my daughter. An awkward moment. So tell me about yourself. What do you like to do? Who are you?
Well, I like to teach English when I'm around.
That's fun.
I think all students have the right to
The Arkansas State Troopers. Yeah. Alright.
And you're Melva's brother?
Yes. Come on. Okay, did you guys talk about that's my first. What are you?
Alright.
What's your name? What's your name, Helen? What character are you? Link. And tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm white, prominent. It's about the integration because my father supports black people, but I support segregation, but I like black people. Okay, so father. I have a crush on Melba. And I've been open to he's against integration. He's not against, he's confused about it.
How we feeling? How we doing, Drayden? Alright.
Wait. India.
Yes. Well, I'm a highly
religious woman. Well, first of all, Melba is my mom. My
I support the integration plan, but I think that the kids, such as yourself, have to work it out for themselves. We can't really be too hard on anyone. Superintendent of the Little Rock Schools. I support the plan for integration.
Yeah.
And I believe that the kids, such as Melba, have to work it out for themselves. They have to figure it out. And we can't really be too hard on them, so I'm not taking any action. I'm just integrating them, and then I believe that they'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
I don't like the way people treat us, and I just like that, and then I get expelled.
Why did you get expelled? Do you know? What did you do? Do you remember?
No.
Oh, you haven't gotten to it yet, have you? Okay.
Helen. Hey, are you my boyfriend still?
You got 4? Yeah. Good job. All right, let's take about 30 more seconds to find another character. If you don't get all 4 before time's up, that's okay.
It'll take 30 more seconds to find them.
Okay, so I'm Elizabeth Eckford, and I'm one of the Little Rock 9. And I participated in immigration, but my first day at school I was attacked by an angry white mob because they just didn't want me there. But two white people helped me out. They made it so that I didn't get hurt.
No, you're late.
And I'm the only one
right,
that
snap
still
them
resides
once.
in Little Rock.
Snap them twice. 3 times, please. We're going to come back here in the circle, but feel free to get yourself another snack, a drink of lemonade if you want one, and then come on back and take a seat in here. You guys drink it all?
I need to do it.
Why don't you set that right up? You're very welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris, for the food.
You're welcome.
What a good guy.
Thank you.
Thanks, team.
All right, so here's what I'd like you to do. Can everyone, before we talk, before we debrief here, I'd like you to flip over the paper and take a look at the back. On the back, I've got room for you to come up with at least 4, or at most 4 questions. You've started reading the book. You've got a bit of the book done already. So you can sort of bring in some details. But I want you, before we talk, write 4 questions that might come up, either about the book or about the characters. You could steal the 2 questions that you prepared already on your keeping track of allies activity. Or you could venture into questions that may have just come up in our conversation today. Jot down as many questions as you can, and a couple of predictions. And then we'll have a debrief. Take about, I'd say about 3 minutes. So do you see the questions?
Hey Chris. Oh, that's actually a good point. Are we writing the questions from the point of view of our character, or just?
No, these are not from you. So Alton just asked a question.
About my own. About the question I had.
All right, I'll get to
So
it.
did I.
So Alton just asked a question. I want you all to hear so that you know exactly what's happening. He asked if he should be asking the question from the point of view of the character. You do not need to be playing the role of your character for this. I want you now, as yourself, to come up with some questions about the book or about your character or any of the other characters that you've met so far.
Thank you.
So I asked a question about my own
Yeah,
character.
absolutely.
Do that? Okay.
So Eric's asking a question about Virgil, who is his character.
Alright.
Good. All right, do you have any, let's see here. Any questions that, do you have any ideas?
Marissa.
Think about what you had for keeping track of allies. Do you remember one of those questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't already, why don't you move to the bottom part of this sheet and come up with a prediction of what might happen in this text, something that you haven't read yet.
Predictions about a question?
No, I'd say just about Warriors don't, but I in general. What do you think is going to happen in the story? No, do you have predictions?
No.
All right, so what do you think is going to happen in this story? I want you to come up with at least one prediction, all right? Does anyone need any help coming up with a prediction or a question? If you do, just wave me over. I want to come on over. And Laura's here. She can help you with any historical information that you might have a question about, too, about this time period. She's our resident expert.
Who?
Laura.
I didn't even hear you though. That's why.
Any questions about history?
Excuses.
Nice job. Yes.
So, who's the person that Melba likes? The guy.
Vince. Her boyfriend right now. Do you have a prediction about Vince?
Oh, I have a prediction.
Cool. You're gonna go for a fight?
No.
Love
She
trying.
might have fought.
That's a great part. Yeah, that would be the best touchdown.
The school board?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were definitely. Actually, no. Good to finish. All right. How we doing? I think take about let's take about 1 more minute to finish up the prediction that we're on. It is okay if you did not get 3. And let's spread, if we can all push your chair back a little bit just to make some room in the group. We're adding me in. All right, that's plenty. Can everyone see each other?
I can see you.
I can see you. All right. Who showed up to the dance? Who's me? Yeah, Riley. Who showed up? Yeah, who's everybody? Give me a name.
Melba.
So Melba showed up. Who's Melba? Alex is Melba. Anyone meet Alex? Who met Alex? Lauren, tell me something about Melba. When you met her, what you learn?
Melba is part of the Little Rock Nine, and she follows what her grandmother says.
Excellent. Abby, can you add to that?
What Lauren said, but also she wants to be just a normal teenager, but she can't because of the integration.
Cool. Who else met her? All right, give me a detail.
That's about all I had to.
Okay, nothing more to add? Cool. Melba,
Oh, I'm excited to go to Central High.
how come?
I don't know. It doesn't say. I don't know.
Do you like to do schoolwork? Are you a smart kid?
Yes,
Is going to Central High going to give you an opportunity to get into a better college?
probably.
Is that your motivation?
Yeah.
All right. Are you scared at all?
Um,
Can you check?
I'm excited, but it might like, get like butterflies. I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a bit nervous.
Do you think it's? Are you scared of any? Do you think it's going to get violent or anything like that? No, you're not too nervous about that. Let's see. You mentioned your grandmother. What's your grandmother's name?
Grandma India.
Was Grandma India at the Central High dance?
Yeah. I don't know why.
All right. She's looking out for Melba. She's got a chaperone. Someone's got a chaperone.
And we
Grandma India, raise your hands. Oh wait, we got one Grandma India here with Ryan, and we have another over here with Alton. Excellent. Who met Grandma India?
Yep.
Great. Dakota, what did you meet? Tell me something.
I said I learned that she protected Melba. So
How did she protect Melba? What's some of the things that she did? All right, you want to phone a friend?
Sure.
What's one thing that Grandma India does to help Melba? Anyone, volunteer. All right, you got 1, 2. Do we have more? We got 1. You want to ask Alton?
Lori?
Lauren, go for it.
She gives her a lot of advice and words to live by.
Excellent.
Words.
Yeah, she keeps her motivated, right? Because there are definitely times, which is, Alex, I was hoping you could get at, where Melba's going to lose hope and faith and courage. It's going to be hard. And Grandma India is somebody that helps her through that by giving her advice. Who else met Grandma India? Eric, what you learn about her?
She is very religious.
Cool.
She teaches Melba like prayers and stuff.
Yep. And you're gonna yes.
English teacher?
No,
That's the mother.
Way to go.
They're related.
Okay, who was Grandma India? Let me see again. It was Ryan and Alton. Do you guys have anything that you want to add about you that they didn't talk about?
well, instead of knitting, we have a rifle in our lap.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So this is not the knitting kind of grandma. This is a
Tough love.
tough love kind of grandma, right?
I'm not to take an exact quote or anything.
Yeah, tough love kind of grandma.
Yeah. So, and that's what Melba's going to need, right? That type of person that's going to keep her focused on it. Let's go to friends. Let's see here. Elizabeth Eckford. Who's Elizabeth Eckford?
Wait, what about the mom? Yeah, what about mom?
All right, you want to go
Nobody cares
to...
about the mom.
Let's stay with the family first before we move to friends.
Oh, Jules.
So Harper brings up, what about mom? So mom is Lois. Who is Lois? We got Harper.
Oh, I got
No,
this
I
one.
met.
Just okay. Who's Lois? Noah, Justin, and Ava.
Yeah.
You're Lois too.
No. Oh, you just said who met.
Who is Lois? Who is Lois? Justin and Ava. Who and Jules?
Yes.
Who met Lois?
I did.
Excellent. Wow, Lois was popular at this dance. Helen, I haven't heard from you yet. Tell me something that you learned about Lois.
She teaches English at the Little Rock, and she's divorced her husband, and she supports Melba's integration.
Excellent. Anyone else who met Lois wants to add to that? Go for it.
Well, as she said, she supports integration and she thinks that all students deserve an equal chance to learn.
Cool. Yes, Ryan?
She divorced her husband because he wouldn't finish school.
Yeah, that's a cool detail, right? So this is a woman that definitely has a high expectation of education. So you can imagine why she would want Melba to go to Little Rock.
Wasn't the husband also like indifferent about integration?
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was more the attitude of it's the way it's always been. Why change it, right? I think he was scared. All right, so there's Lois. Whoever is Lois, it's Ava,
Jules and Justin.
Justin. Can you tell me something about you that hasn't been said?
Let me see.
No.
Oh yeah, she has a lot of pride in her daughter.
Excellent. Yeah. Anything else? You want to add anything? Did we cover it?
We pretty much covered it.
Nice job. Nice job. Lois was popular at this dance. So we've got, there's one more family member, Conrad. Who here was Conrad? One, two. Who met Conrad?
Oh, no, I met him.
You met Conrad?
Yeah, I met Conrad.
Or you are Conrad?
We're still back.
Okay.
I met Conrad.
Jules, did you meet Conrad?
I did.
Tell me something about Conrad.
Conrad wanted to be the first captain, or first black captain of the police department.
Excellent, and he does do that. That is one of the things one of his successes. Who else met Conrad? Go for it, James.
He does not get attention, and he's not smart.
Yeah, and that part, well, the idea that he doesn't get attention sticks out to me because I always like that idea that the jealousy when his sister's trying to fight for civil rights, that they're just kids and he's still feeling like, what about me, right? You said he's not smart. I don't know if Conrad isn't smart. I think the way to look at that more is that his sister is the brains of the family, so that adds to some of his jealousy. She gets the attention for being smart, but we're going to find that Conrad is smart in a different way. All right, so there's Conrad. Noah, did anything happen? Do you want to share anything with us that they didn't say about you?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess, kind of like James said, is kind of in the shadows of Melba. Like, nobody really pays attention, like, to me, or, I mean, just, yeah, pretty much, that was it.
Yeah, you living in the shadow of Melba.
Yeah.
I think it's, I like how we latch onto that detail. Yeah.
Like Jules said, that Conrad was the first and only black captain of the Arkansas State Troopers, and Conrad chose that profession because all of the dangerous experiences that Melba had to face of going to school, but Conrad couldn't help her.
Yeah, he was too young. He couldn't really help Melba, and so that frustrated him, right? So he decided, as he got older, he wanted to be a police officer to protect people. Excellent, nice work. Let's see here. Let's move to friends. Elizabeth Eckford. Who's played Elizabeth? Draven was Elizabeth. Anya was Elizabeth, and Harper was Elizabeth. Anyone meet those three? One of those three. Excellent. Okay, we haven't heard much from Ava. Go for it. And Riley.
Okay, Elizabeth was one of the 9 who went to Central High. She was attacked by a mob, like the first day of school, and 2 white people dragged her out, so that like helped her.
Yeah. Have you guys come across that in the story already?
Yes.
Yeah.
So can anyone add a detail about that moment that you learned from the book that isn't on this card? Yeah.
Well, maybe not exactly like more detail, maybe more detail to it, not something else I learned.
Yeah.
But it was like her first day of school,
Yeah.
and she, everyone else was like meeting up somewhere else to go to school together.
Yeah.
but she didn't hear about it. She went by herself. And when she got to school, there was a huge mob just waiting to throw things at her and yell nasty names. And it was really cool that those bystanders decided not to be bystanders, standers.
Yeah.
And stepped in and helped her and was more like an ally.
Nice job.
Allied behavior.
Exactly. Riley, I want to hear from you. Something that you learned about Elizabeth.
She's the only one of the Little Rock Nine to stay in Arkansas, and now she's a social worker there.
Yeah, real cool. Later in the unit, we'll read an article where she meets up with one of the students that sort of harassed her, and they have this moment, and it goes back to that picture. You know that picture in the book there, where they're all screaming at her. It's the woman in that picture, one of the women that's making one of the nastiest faces. And she commented that she hated it because she became the poster child of hatred. And it's interesting because she was really too young to know what she was doing. That's what she said. She was kind of just yelling at this girl because her parents told her to. Let's see. Who was Elizabeth again? One more time. All right, Harper, tell me something about yourself that they haven't said.
Yeah, I said they were attacked by an angry white man.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, they're saved by, was saved by 2 white people though.
Excellent.
That was kind of cool thing about it. There were some people there that weren't all just about the hate and stuff.
Excellent. Anything else? Yeah.
Oh, well, I have a question.
Go for it.
Why, you really only hear about Melba though? Why aren't any of the other Little Rock Nine, I don't even hear about them a lot?
All right, so let's talk about that. It's an excellent question. Plus, Abby had the same question. Yeah, let's hear from Eric. I haven't heard from you much yet.
It's Melba's memoir, so she wrote the book. So it's mostly about her because she actually has her own memories.
Yeah, first and foremost, it is her personal story, but why else? What are some other ideas about why is she so prominently featured in this one? Anybody? Do you think she is the most important of the Little Rock Nine?
No.
Right. Ernest Green is actually the first one to graduate. So he was the first black student to graduate at Little Rock. So keep an eye out because he also has a story. Also, she's wanted to be a writer. She became a famous writer. She's published other books too. So that's another reason why this particular story.
Published the book?
Yeah. Okay. So the other kids, I think Minnie Jean, who was it that said they wanted to be a writer? Was it Minnie Jean or Elizabeth? I can't remember. But it was Elizabeth?
No, Minnie Jean.
Minnie Jean. So there could be a story out there from her perspective too. Helen?
When Minnie Jean got expelled, do you know if she went to another white school?
Well, let's talk about Minnie Jean then. Who was Minnie Jean? Lauren and Acadia. Who met Minnie Jean? All right, Draven, tell me something you learned about Minnie Jean.
Well, she didn't like how the white people were treating her kind, and she got expelled for fighting back.
Excellent. Where'd she go? Does anyone know where she went when she got expelled? Go for it, Acadia. Where'd you go?
New York.
Was that?
New York.
Excellent. So she went up north, right? Keep an eye as you're reading. You're going to learn a little bit more about what happens to Minnie Jean when she leaves. And it actually turns out to be a positive influence in her life. Did anyone make a prediction about Minnie Jean's, what's going to happen to her? No one cares about what happens to Minnie Jean?
No.
She gets expelled and you forget?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Who else was friends with her? Who else was there? Who am I missing right now? Who's that?
Link.
Oh, Link. Okay, let's go to the romance here. All right, so that's why I put Unchained Melody on there, so maybe Link and Melba can meet and have a little slow dance. Who was Link? Anya was Link. Abby was Link. Okay, who was Link? Helen was Link, and who else, Abby? Who met Link?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Anya, share something you met about Link.
Okay, well, he is,
he has a crush on Melba, and he's sort of like Melba's friend. And he's white, and he's sort of confused on what he should do about the whole integration thing because his father's sort of confused or sort of against it, so he doesn't know which side to take.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to like jeopardize his friendship with Melba.
Excellent. Alex.
Alrighty. Well, he is the son of a prominent white family. He's friends with Melba, but kind of wants to be like Morgan, like I said. And I think his dad is sort of a little bit against it, but he had a black maid or Nana, and he liked her and didn't think anything was wrong with her, so he doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah, so he's got an entirely different experience than many of his friends, right? Link, do you want to share anything that hasn't been said? Helen.
Like, while he likes Melba, he's not sure if he wants to be in like a relationship where people know about it because he wants to protect her, but also he doesn't want to put himself in danger.
Yeah, that's definitely going to put him into danger. And you're going to see some of the things that he does for her. There's one particular example where Link has to pretend that he's yelling at her, and then he gives her the keys to his car so she can escape. And it's a really cool scene because he has to say some pretty mean things to her. So if that moment was taken out of context, you'd think that he was part of the group that didn't like her, right? So there's Link. What about Danny? Who was Danny? All right, we got Taylor, we got Riley, and we have James. Who met Danny? All right, Dakota, what you meet about Danny? Give me a detail.
Danny protected Melba from acid to almost get thrown in her eyes.
Yeah. So he protected her from the incident where they threw acid at her. Who was he? Who wants to add, like specifically Anya? Who was he?
He's part of the 101st Airborne Division.
All right.
And he's like, his whole job is to protect black students that of Little Rock, sort of, and especially Melba.
All right, well, he was specifically assigned to Melba. Ryan, do you want to add a detail to that?
Melba doesn't really need Danny around.
Yeah, Melba's going to learn how to do this on her own, right? Yeah.
And Danny is a white soldier.
Yes. Now, who sent Danny? Do we know?
President Eisenhower.
Nice job, Riley. President Eisenhower. So you got a little detail there. Taylor, can you add something that no one said? Have we met Danny in the book already? He hasn't come up yet? He has? I want you to think about when you do meet him, if you haven't read the section about Danny yet, some of his orders, how involved he can get. I want you to see that because he has to stay away from her. He's not allowed to actually get involved. So it's an interesting situation where it's not until the physical violence happens to her that he can interfere.
Not even.
What's that?
Not even then for some instances.
When can he interfere then? I thought as soon as she gets...
Well, because I remember reading the book, like some kids were like kicking her on the ground and he just like...
And he still couldn't, right?
Yeah.
So he more has to teach her how to defend herself, right? Yeah, or how to withstand it. All right. Who else haven't we met? Just Virgil? Did we meet everybody else so far? All right, so the other chaperones. Who was Virgil Blossom? We have Eric, and Laura was Virgil Blossom. Who met Virgil? Yeah, a lot of people met Virgil. All right. Abby, tell me something about Virgil.
He's the superintendent of Central High. And he kind of, I think what you said is he kind of believes in integration, but he's not really like doing anything about it, so he's not like helping in any way.
Okay. Lauren, can you add a detail there?
Yeah, he isn't doing much about integration because he wants to leave it to the kids and have them kind of sort it out for themselves.
Cool. Jules. Virgil, is there anything you want to add that you haven't heard?
Well, like has been said, I want the kids to sort it out.
Yeah.
And I think that because they're kids, they can, that's the reason they can sort it out, is because they don't really have that much prior experience.
Yep.
So their kids, if we start integration, then they'll get used to it.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. What's something that all these characters have in common? Why do you think I chose these specific characters? Helen?
Because they all have like strong beliefs, I guess.
Excellent. Okay, they definitely have strong beliefs. And one particular belief, they have one particular belief in common. Thinking about the question up here. How does allied behavior help? What do you think, Alex?
Are they all pro-integration?
Yep, they are all pro-integration, so that is certainly one commonality. What do you think, Alton?
Well,
How do
since
they
they're pro-integration, that also means that they are an ally to Melba, whether she knows it or not.
Right, so I like what Alton said there. They're all allies, whether she knows it or not. So that's what I want you to think about. As you're reading this book, and you're keeping track of allies sheet there, when you're charting examples of people who act as allies, think about it doesn't have to be obvious. If you look at these characters, anytime you see any one of these characters' names come up, that should be a clue. Look for an example should be coming up of them behaving as an ally. It could be physical, like Danny. It could be emotional, like her grandmother. And it could be political, like Virgil Blossom. So the mere fact that he's the superintendent and he's for integration means he's an ally. I want you to think about, what if he was against it? If the superintendent of the school was against it, would we be reading the same story?
No.
They simply would say, no, it's not going to happen. And then it would go to, the government would get further involved, right? So before we finish up, I want to give you a chance to ask any other questions or share any of the predictions that you brainstormed. Does anybody have something they want to volunteer? Go for it, Dakota.
Why did Melba almost get acid thrown in her eyes?
Well, have we come across that in the story yet? Great. Some of us have, but not all of us. I want you to hold on to that question, but I'm glad you asked it, though, because you will be, that scene will come on up. So you're going to be able to get all the details. So keep an eye out for that as you're reading. I'll collect these in 1 second. Anyone else? Ava?
I want to know, why doesn't really anyone teach Melba about the bad part of the outside world? Like, they kind of keep her closed in. She doesn't really learn about anything else but books. You know?
Right. So think about that. Did anyone notice that? Like, she's very smart, but this whole thing, this amount of hatred is brand new to her, right? She hasn't seen any of that. Why was she protected like that? I think that's an interesting question. Alta.
As Link and Melba become closer and Danny and Melba become closer, will Link and Danny have a confrontation?
All right, somebody, Link and Danny. If Link is intelligent, he'll stay away from Danny. I think Danny could probably use some of his skills on Link there. Who else is in the picture of this love triangle? Vince, right? We got Vince. Now, I think it's important to bring this up because doesn't Vince share some of those same feelings as Conrad? Why is Vince and Melba having relationship issues right now? If you've read, share this. If you've read about Vince yet, has anyone here come across that moment yet with Vince and Melba? What do you know so far, Ed?
I just read up, it's like their first date.
Oh, so they're still in love right now? Life is good?
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the relationship between Vince and Melba. Vince stays at the school that Melba came from when Melba integrates into Little Rock. So some predictions. What do you think might happen to that relationship?
Oh, it's gonna fall apart.
How come?
Because they're too far apart and they're gonna talk.
So long distance, right?
Don't they not have phones?
Well, they have phones. Alex brings up the idea of phones. They don't have cell phones. And here's something else.
They have like the wall phones that, like crank and then do it again.
They have one phone in their house. It's another detail that you'll come across. And you'll notice, too, that it's never the kids that answer the phone. It's either her mother or her grandmother that answers the phone. You have to actually ask for permission from the mother or the grandmother if you can talk to Melba. You're not actually you don't just call Melba. And so that's an interesting cultural thing. Do we have that same sort of cultural setup right now? You know, do we make phone calls at inappropriate times even?
Yeah.
So it's cool to see. We're talking not that long ago too. Any other predictions or questions? James.
Why does Grandma India hold a rifle on her lap?
Why does Grandma India hold the rifle in her lap? I want to hear some thoughts on that. Somebody I haven't heard from too much. Any thoughts? Why? Harper, why do you think Grandma India holds a shotgun in her lap?
Because she wants to protect her family.
All right, she wants to protect her family. Yes. Noah, why does that help protect her family?
I don't think it's just actually like, kind of just more of the thought,
Okay.
I guess, of the gun, and then she's actually gonna use it.
All right, yeah, so you think it just might be a security thing. She might
Well,
not
I mean,
use it.
well, I'm not doubting that she wouldn't use it, it's also, yeah.
Do you think people are going to come and attack their house?
Yes.
Quite possibly, right? And so this is a very dangerous time. People are angry, people are confused. And when you're like that, you tend to do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. And so she needs to be ready. Draven, you had your hand up to respond to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say how Grandma Annie just wanted to protect Melba.
Yep.
And so people came around the house. I think she more wanted to scare them than actually harm anybody.
Yep. So we have high hopes that Grandma India's not going to use that shotgun on anybody.
Maybe not high hopes.
We'll see. We'll see.
We wouldn't be against it.
Mike, give some excitement in the story. Helen, what you got?
Is Melba marry one of those?
Excellent question. Melba does get married, and she marries a white person. However, if I'm remembering correctly, I think they get divorced. I can't remember. I think it's at the very end of the book. There's an epilogue at the end, I think, or an after years section.
I checked that already.
I can't remember where I got that tidbit of info, but I think it's in the back section of the book.
They probably intentionally left that out.
Anyone else yet? Anyone? Anything? One last moment. You want to say something? Make a comment?
We need to know.
All right, take a look up here on the screen for Friday. I should move. If you can't see it, do Friday this week. I want you to read up to chapter 10. We're going to do another keeping track of allies activity in class tomorrow. You'll get some time to actually physically do that. But you should post-it note moments where you see people acting as allies. Do you now have a whole list of names that you can keep an eye out for?
Yeah.
Excellent. Volunteer to collect the cards. Taylor? Yeah? All right, go for it. Anyone want to help her out? Dakota, go for it.
What about the sheets?
I am going to put these right here. If you could, those people collecting cards,
Chris, what about the
if
white
you could stack them on the appropriate name for me, that would be great.
Chris, what about the white paper?
Why, do you want to get up and move around, do you? Alex, can you go and collect the handout for me? But, hold on, make sure your name's on it. Put your name on the top. We've got about 5 minutes left in class right now. Feel free to get up, stretch your legs. You've been sitting for a while. You can get another snack. But then, I want you to use this time to read.
Thanks,
Yes, sir. There's only a few left.
I need some water.
I think you're fine. There you go, Christopher. Thank you, sir. Conrad. Where's Conrad? I need Conrad. Grandma India.
No, don't we feel bad about the other class that's going to come in here with no lemonade or donuts?
Why, did we eat it all?
We ate it all. They still have chips.
All right, I owe them. I know, you guys, you drank a lot more than I thought you were going to drink. Are there any character cards still out there? All right, sweet. Clipboards. Let's get our clipboards put over here. Thank you.
Alright.
Partial bag of chips and they'll know that we don't.
Laura, do you think I could just send them over?
If we eat it all, they'll think there was something in the first place, so we can't leave anything left.
So Laura's just gonna check in on science, and if we're ready, we're gonna switch. Right now is a good opportunity. If you need to run to the bathroom, you can. If you want to grab a drink, you can. We'll be switching in like 2 minutes. Okay.
I'm already past, I think, chapter 10.
Yeah,
I think
that's
I'm like
right,
11.
So this is you can keep you're keeping right up with this, Nicole.
They're not quite right inside. They're not like around mine when I left them.
This one is. Nice work.
So, we changed it to reading up to chapter 10?
Yes.
Not through chapter 10.
You don't have to read through chapter 10.
And that was like what, 120?
I think 112.
Okay.
Yeah, 112, 116, it's in that.
Why exactly do we have it due on Friday if we're going to be gone for a week after that? So due Friday, we have to read up to that point?
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be smarter to have it due the Monday?
You're gonna get another.
Oh wait, no, because we do come to school on Monday.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna give you. I'm not gonna give you. I'm not gonna give you homework while we're in DC.
Yeah. So.
Well, we'll pick
we
up.
have till after DC.
Yeah. Well, no, because you want to do. You're keeping track of allies activity from chapters 4 to 10.
And do you still have a blog due for this month?
No, I'm gonna dismiss that because this book is too crunchy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for reminding me. I'll talk about that tomorrow. All right, nice work. Have a good one.
Best teacher ever.
Thank you, Anya.
Thanks, Chris. We are so proud of you and your attempt at this great step forward.
Nice job, all time. You're a gentleman.